What's up, guys? We're back with a pickups video for the first time in probably 6 or 7 years. I used to do these and then I kind of just stopped doing them for whatever reason. But since I'm going so full force back into retro gaming in the last, I don't know, maybe 4 months or so, I figured, hey, let's just start kind of cataloging what we pick up. Before we get the video started, I do want to point out that I did get a couple of systems in January. These are pickups for January 2021. I got an Atari 7800. It's composite modded. I got a Sharp Twin Famicom that plays Famicom and Famicom Disk System. And I also got, which is, right, every time I do this I always screw up which direction I'm going. Right there is my SNES Model 2. I got that modded by Retro Fixes. It is, whatchamacallit, RGB modded. So I have it in my SCART setup with that TV right there. And please excuse the, holy shit, what are we doing? Oh my god, why is this so disorienting? There we go. Excuse the litter box. I have a lot of cats. Not really, just have 2 cats, but they're always down here. Anyway, let's get on with the pickups. First, we're gonna start with Atari 2600 games. I haven't played through a lot of these, just maybe a few minutes here and there just to test them to make sure that they work. I've been getting more into Atari games in general, whether it be 2600 or 7800. The simplicity of them and the ability to just be able to pick them up and keep playing, something that appeals to me as I get a little bit older. So these are 2 silver label games. I got Kangaroo and Jungle Hunt. Truth be told, Kangaroo I did not play much at all. I have to look it up. I don't really know anything about it. Jungle Hunt, it almost appeared to be kind of like a Pitfall universe game of some sort. That's the vibe that I got from it, but I didn't really play it too much either, to be completely honest with you. I don't have that much time yet, anyway. Now we're gonna get into some Atari 2600 red label games. First we have Mousetrap. Trying to figure out the best way to do this here. Maybe I'll do that and then put it down. I got some kind of Pac-Man vibes from this game, although the ins and outs of it, couldn't really figure it out, to be completely honest with you. I pressed a button and I turned into like a red mouse. I don't know what that did. And there seemed to be these like flickering sections of the maze-like board that I thought I'd be able to go through at some point, but I wasn't able to. So there's probably something I was doing wrong, and I'll have to look that up. But it seemed interesting, though, to say the least. Next would be Midnight Magic. And this is a pinball game. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty fun, especially for being back in the day. Now here's one that I'm intrigued about, because when I plugged it in, I don't know if it wasn't working correctly, but I had no idea what was going on. Like, it looked like it was working, but I didn't know where my character was or anything. Didn't seem like anything was working. And that game is Venture. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look into that one more. If there's anybody watching these that's like super duper into Atari, feel free to school me, because I'm open to be schooled about it. I am not an Atari whiz by any way, shape, or form, stretch of the imagination, whatever you want to say. Next we have Sprint Master, which was a pretty simple game when I was playing it, but honestly, it was pretty fun. It looked like it was 1 player and 2 player. You have these different tracks, and you pretty much just control a race car and keep going around the track and shit like that, but it was hard to control, but at the same time, it looked like it could be very addicting. And I feel like playing that 2 player would be a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. Now this is another one I want to do more research into, because it looked fucking cool as hell. Solaris. The colors were great. The perspective was cool. You're kind of like in a spaceship. You're shooting planets and weird things. Then there's these grids and maps that pop up on the screen. I was kind of confused. Like, I couldn't tell if I was doing good or not. I certainly didn't think I was dying, but I don't know if I was necessarily doing the objective of the game. Not having instruction manuals and shit like that, and no real prior reference, I guess, you know, things could happen. But anyway, the last pickup that we got for a 2600 is Desert Falcon. I know that this game is also on the 7800. I don't know if it's on any other systems. It's a weird isometric shooter. The 2600 version looks pretty shitty, but at the same time, it being on 2600 is very interesting. It was very ambitious, to say the least. It's kind of set in like an Egyptian, you know, pyramid sphinx type setting, and you play as a falcon in the desert. Next, we're moving on to some 7800 games. If anybody that's watching this, if there's a 7800 flash card out, let me know, because I'd like to get it. As much as I do enjoy collecting games, the 7800 seems to be a little bit more scarce and a little bit more expensive. And I'd love to get a flash card for it, but to my knowledge, it looks like there was one being created and then somebody stopped. So I don't know. First, we have Pole Position. Again, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this was probably like a pack-in game. I see it all over the place. This is by far the most common game that I see, and it's also fairly cheap, so I'm assuming there's not much to it. I have played it because this is my second copy now, technically. The game itself isn't bad, but anyway. Next, we have Xevious, or Xavius? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Xevious. This, I know for a fact, is on different consoles. This might be on the Nintendo, maybe the Sega Master System. I can't recall. It's a shoot 'em up, if you will, and you're scrolling from the bottom of the screen upward. And this version's pretty good. I didn't have any problems with it. I played through it for a few minutes and it seemed pretty sick. I'd like to play through it eventually all the way through, so hopefully soon. Now this one, out of all the games that I got recently, I actually played it the most. It's a lot of fun. A little quirky and weird. That's Food Fight for the Atari 7800. So in this game, you pretty much play this kid, and you're trying to get over to like ice cream cones and shit to eat them on the other side of the screen. And in your way, there's piles of food, and there's like chefs and shit trying to get you. You could pick up the food and throw it at the chefs, but I think if you get over to the ice cream cone quicker and you don't pick up as much food or any food at all, you get more points, because obviously these games are a lot of like arcadey styles and shit. But this was my favorite one. I wasn't expecting too much going into it, although I heard it was fun, and I was pleasantly surprised. Oof, this one. Don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Karateka. I don't know what's going on in this game at all. I think this is a game that I either have the wrong controller or I need the instruction manual or something. I heard it's not very good. My first impressions are it sucks, but I would like to really know what I'm doing. I was using a custom controller that seems to be sort of mass-produced for the 7800. It's shaped like an NES controller, but some games don't seem to work with it very well, and this might be one of them. It took me like literally 2 minutes to figure out how to throw a kick. It's kind of like a one-on-one karate fighting game, and I don't know. Maybe there's some deeper meaning to it that I'm missing out on, or maybe it really does just kind of suck and the controls are part of the reason that it sucks. And then lastly, for the 7800, we have Choplifter. Yet again, another game that I believe came out on different consoles. It may very well have come out on a previous Atari console. This game's pretty fun. You pretty much take a helicopter, you go side to side, turning around, facing the screen, you shoot like enemy tanks, you try to rescue people, and then drop them back off at the base. It's simple, good fucking action. What else we got here? Oh, been loading up on Nintendo, Famicom, and Famicom Disk System stuff. As anybody that knows me, I'm a very big SNES fan, but recently I've just been diving into the 8-bit era like no other. So first we're going to start with some Famicom Disk System stuff. Got a lot of the classics. First we got The Legend of Zelda, and to my knowledge this is the first release of The Legend of Zelda. It was not on the Famicom. The Famicom was a re-release, and then obviously this came out before the NTSC version that we got. As far as differences, one of the main differences, on the Famicom, on controller 2, there's a microphone port, and there's an enemy called Pole's Voice, and if you yell anything into the microphone, it kills the Pole's Voice, so that's pretty unique for that time. A lot of these games are just classics that I'm going to be showing you, and then there's one, technically, sort of, at the time, Famicom Disk System exclusive. But, yeah, I just kind of wanted to get all the classics in one of their original forms, you know what I'm saying? So next we have Metroid. As much as I love the SNES and I do love Super Metroid, this is my favorite version of Metroid. Not necessarily the Disk System version, but the Nintendo version. Couldn't really find much differences when I was playing this. I think some of the sounds were a little bit different, but don't take my word for it. This isn't a review. These are just pickups. I'm trying my best to give you as little knowledge as I know about them, but don't take my word for the gospel in these videos beyond the fact of I bought this. Next, we have Castlevania, or I believe in Japan it's like a Kumajo Dracula or some shit like that. One of the biggest differences in this is that you have the ability to save the game, and in the American version you don't. I mean, Castlevania is a pretty short game. It's difficult, I guess the saves could come in handy if you're having a lot of trouble on some levels, or kind of can serve as like a old school save state of some sort. You know, I think you can make up to 3 save slots. So let's say you have a lot of trouble with level 3, level 4, level 5. Maybe you want to make a save that leaves off there. I guess you'd probably have to purposefully die. I don't yet know how the save works. Like, does it auto save for you when you reach the next level, or do you have to manually save? But either way, kind of an interesting feature. I guess if you're having a lot of trouble, the save could be cool. You know, let's say you get stuck on level 3 or level 4 or some shit and you just want to go back to it later. Nevertheless, Castlevania, Metroid, Zelda, like what the fuck, man? No brainers. And then lastly, for the Famicom Disk System, we have the real Super Mario Bros. 2. This comes with the manual, which is why it's in like a bigger case than the other ones, just for comparison. There's like a... yeah, but anyways. We got this in the Super Mario All-Stars SNES release, and it was dubbed the Lost Levels. Now, I don't want to go off on a tangent. This is one of the more well-known things on the interwebs. Doki Doki Panic on the Famicom Disk System is what we got in America as our Super Mario Bros. 2. They kind of just reskinned it to be Mario characters and such. This is more along the lines of the first Super Mario Bros., and it is way more difficult, and I believe it probably has to do with the fact that it is more difficult that it never came out in America, because Japanese people think we're pussies. Quite frankly, pretty much what it boils down to. Alright, and lastly, we have some NES games. First up, we have Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six. I didn't play it too much. Many of you might know this from the Angry Video Game Nerd. If you're a Spider-Man fan or a Nintendo fan, I can still see you getting some enjoyment out of it. That's just myself. Next was a viewer request game that I played on stream. Twitch.tv/bitsandglory, by the way. Link down below in the description. Legend of Kage, which is a arcade port, a game made by Taito. Oddly enough, the Angry Video Game Nerd reviewed it recently, but that's besides the point. Pretty simple game. I had fun playing it. I beat it, although apparently there's a true ending where you have to beat the game again on a second run, and it seems like it's more difficult than the first run. You pretty much go from left to right. One level you go up and down, basically. You jump super high. The controls are a bit tough to get used to, very floaty. You have a sword, you have throwing stars, some power-ups here and there. It's honestly more fun than you think. Nintendo Life gave it like a 2 out of 10. Completely disagree. I'll have a review of this baby coming up in the future. And then lastly, well, I guess I'll throw this in first. I also got the retro USB wireless controller for the retro AVS. My overall review of it is it's good. Not great. It's good. I don't have a wire anymore, which is the most important thing here, but I don't know. I don't know if some inputs drop or I gotta get used to the pressure of pushing these buttons, but sometimes I feel like it's a tad unresponsive at times, especially in tougher platforming games, can be kind of annoying, but overall it does get my seal of approval. Most wireless controllers aren't without their flaws. But anyways, the last pickups for January, and I'm looking forward to February, by the way. I hope you guys are too. Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back on the Nintendo. I heard these games are fun / good to a certain extent, also punishingly difficult. I hope to get to these on my streams in February, which we're doing Star Wars February. That's if my ISP ever fucking fixes its issues with my upload speed, but that's another video that we can make. Yeah, not much to really say about them. I heard that they're pretty good. I don't know if this is the same as the Famicom version. The Famicom version is also good, but extremely punishing. They might be different games though. We'll find out. But I'm always excited to add games to the Nintendo collection. So we're getting there. I'd like to have a complete licensed Nintendo collection when all is said and done. That's a lofty goal. I realize games like Little Samson and shit like that, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be doing a pickups video for February. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.